Just want to make sure. Yep. Okay.
We are live. Good morning,
Okay.
Melissa.
Good morning, Leslie. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And I'm glad the weekend is here since I just mentioned to you earlier. I stayed up a little too late watching some US Open tennis last night, but it was well worth it.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think you had good company.
Exactly. So I'm going to stick to our pattern here where we're going to highlight some quotes because as usual, the connection between us and LinkedIn and YouTube, it's always a little delayed.
Yes.
So hopefully anyone who's joining us, you'll come back later to see all the quotes we're sharing. So I want to start with our friend who I met through you, Eden.
Miss Eden.
She wrote this lovely quote, and this is part of it. Kindness builds trust, and trust builds connection.
I love that. That's very Eden too.
Yes, she's got a way with words, few words, big impact. And then here's one more. This is Kevlin, someone I know from LinkedIn. She's on the West Coast. I was once on her live stream. I think I met her. It's got to be over 2 years now. And she wrote this: trust is earned over time while proving that you will consistently do what you say, write, or promise. And I love that she mentioned this issue, the factor of time.
Yes, I love that too.
And now I'm going to surprise you with a quote you didn't know I was going to share.
Oh.
It's from you. I'm going to read the whole thing. This is from a few episodes ago. And you said, I love this event so much because people are really connecting.
Yeah.
They are really having conversations and talking. I know that people have connected and made friendships because of our event, and that makes me super happy. And I have to say, you took the words out of my heart and sentiment. Well said.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting my quote, Leslie. And no, it's from the heart. I love that people come here, hopefully to hear us, but also definitely to engage with one another, talk in the comments. I see we have some wonderful comments already from our friends who are here to support us. So I really sincerely do mean that. I love these events and I love the conversations that come out of them. And that's a big thank you to you, Leslie, and to everyone who joins us.
Same, and ditto for you, and ditto for everyone who shows up, because that's what we love. We're building literally our live stream community here. So we're going to welcome everyone, and then we're going to see who's here. So thank you for joining us, whether you're watching during replay or you're here with us live, which we love. Welcome to new viewers or returning viewers. This is Let's Talk About It, Careers, Business, and LinkedIn. Episode 23, wow. Trust Matters, How to Earn It or Lose It. And we're going to start with introducing ourselves. Melissa?
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Cohen. I'm here in New York City, as is Leslie. I am a personal branding and LinkedIn strategist. So I help you to find your voice, build your brand, and build your business on the best platform, LinkedIn.
Oh, I love that. The best platform. Absolutely. I am Leslie Nydick. I help individuals and teams get unstuck from conflict. And two of my most powerful tools are a surprise, communication, and negotiation. But there's another tool that is just as important, and I put a lot of thought into it. It's trust is a huge factor in the work that I do, and probably in the work that we all do. So I'm looking forward to talking about it today. Now, I already see definitely there are people here, and we want to start welcoming everyone. Oh, Nicole was the first. Welcome. And Nicole were you I think when I met you in person, that might have been my first like in-person meetup. What a fabulous time. And now I think could it be 3 summers ago or 2 summers ago? I'm losing track of time. So welcome, Nicole. And Tiffany,
Tiffany.
welcome. I'm moving down the line. Oh, and Glenna is here. Oh, and Glenna, I knew, but I also got to know her on one of the gratitude events, the one that you led, Melissa.
Yes. Oh, fabulous.
And
Carlos.
Cafe Carlos is up nice and early. Thank you for being here. Oh, yay. I hope your ears were ringing and that you heard us, or go back to the beginning because I quoted you. Welcome, Eden.
G.
Hello, G. Hello,
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Oh, fabulous to see you.
That's right. It
Oh,
is
and
afternoon for Lincoln. That's right.
yeah, and my dear friend Holly
Holly's
Price.
here.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, yay.
See that? Look, all our friends are here. This is making me so happy.
This is so exciting. It
Thank you.
exactly, fits with the quote that I shared. Oh, hi, Jeannie. And and maybe we met in the comments, but then we really got to know each other with all the live streams Jeannie is always showing up for. Kimberly. Oh, and she's up nice and early too.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly. Yeah, it is very early for her. Thank you for joining us.
And here's Grace.
Hello,
Oh,
Grace.
welcome. We're so glad you're here. So we're gonna get started here with a question for our viewers, and then we'll get back to saying hello to more people as they arrive. First, the welcome. So here's the question. What percentage of employees trust their coworkers? And we'd love for you to share your best guesses in the comments. Again, what percentage of employees trust their coworkers? Melissa, what do you think?
I really struggle with this question. And I guess so from my personal experience, right? Because I spent many, many, many years in corporate. I trusted the vast majority of them, but in every role that I ever had, in every company I ever worked for, there were always those one or two people that you knew you had to watch your back because they were gunning for you.
Yes.
They were hoping to see you fail and they were not trustworthy. So it's a hard question for me because I think it depends how you look at it. Is it like the majority? Is it 100% of your coworkers? I'm going to say 65%. I don't know. I just made that up. It sounds like a good number.
A, a guess is always a good one. Let's also see what people are guessing in the comments. And there are more people to say hello to, so I'll just grab a few. Hello, Kat. It's so nice to see you.
Hey, Kat.
Hello, LinkedIn
Hello.
user cheering on Melissa. We'll
Figure out
know
who
who
you
you
are
are.
later when we go back.
Oh, and then another one. Hello. Thank you for saying hello. So let's see. Oh, we've got our friend. Hello, Shelby. I didn't get to say hello to you. 75%. Ooh, this could be interesting. So we've got like 65%, 75%. We've got a good range because Tiffany guessed 38%. And we want to say hello, Larry. Thank you for joining us. Christina's guessing 50%. Depends on the level of management as well. Obviously, that is a big factor. Good point to bring up.
We have a very wide range of guesses.
And this one is interesting. Shiraz, thank you for sharing this. In the finance tax world, I would say very low, less than 10%.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? A field that we expect that we need a high level of trust, and maybe there isn't a lot of it. I'm going to take a few more. Oh, good morning,
Hi,
Jason.
Jason. We have an excellent comment from Glenna as well. So I'll read it because I
Oh,
know
please.
it's impossible to keep up with these. Does it depend on trust in what? Like whether they'll be productive when working remotely, or like whether to be honest on expense reports? That's an excellent question.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's a good one. And I know that wasn't part of this particular survey, but I love that point of
Yeah.
distinguishing between that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Glenna. So I'm going to, 1 second. I want to do my little, okay,
Awesome.
I'm good. I wanted to do my little drum roll. I had a
You're
reason to do it.
full of
Um,
surprises today, Leslie.
the percent is 79% of employees
Wow.
trust their coworkers. And let me add a side note. They trust their coworkers more than their managers, more than the head of HR, and more than their CEO.
Wow.
This was according to a 2022 Edelman Trust Barometer report.
Wow. Interesting, right?
Yes, really interesting. And kind of the more we think about those numbers, it can really explain a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, any of us who've worked in a corporate setting for an extended period of time, there's sort of like that bonding, right? When you're
Yes.
kind of going through it together, right? And you're spending, at least back in the day before hybrid and remote work, you spend so much time with your coworkers
Yes.
that it is essential to
Um,
trust one another.
in some companies, particularly a startup that I worked in that grew to be much larger than just a startup, those we felt like we were in the trenches together.
Yeah.
And those people, more than 20 years later, are still my good friends.
Yeah.
So, because we had to trust, it wasn't even a matter of, do I trust you or will I trust you? I had to trust you for the kind of work we were doing, where we needed to, protect each other's back, the kind of hours we were working together.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're going to move to the first question I'm going to ask Melissa. What are a couple of key factors to earn trust in the workplace, whether we're working in a company or if we're leading our own business?
I mean, I think the biggest, and it might be kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do it. Just be truthful, right? And I would say especially be truthful when you make a mistake or you don't know something, right? I think for many people there's this tendency of thinking that a mistake is incompetence or weakness, and so they want to cover it up, right? They want to cover their tracks, they want to bury it, they want to hope that nobody finds it out, but 99% of the time it gets found out, and then the damage is so much worse than if you would have just said, "Hey, I messed this up. Here's how I'm going to fix it." Or, "Hey, I messed this up. Let's figure out a plan from here as to how to, make it right." And I think that really builds trust, right? And that goes for leaders as well, right?
Yes.
You don't have to have that aura of perfection, because it actually makes you unapproachable. And I think it lowers trust when you try to
Yes.
pretend that you know everything and you have all the answers, because nobody does.
Yes. That really feeds into something that comes up in my work, where those blame-based kind of organizations, where it's not okay to make the mistake because it's all about finding out who made it. So everyone fears making the mistake. And yet we can all look back and remember the rule that we learn the most from our mistakes. If everything goes right, you don't always know even why it's going right. If it goes wrong, you see it, you could fix it, and you're going to remember that the next time.
Yes. Yes.
So the things that I was thinking about is time is an important factor where we need to start earning the trust, like from the very first moment you meet someone. While we also need to allow time to develop it. And I think the balance is that when I'm earning trust from a colleague or a coworker, I might feel like I have a little more time to do it, and I may take my time.
Mm.
Yet, when you're working with a client, whether it's with your own business or a client or customer in a large organization, there's pressure to develop that trust quickly. Yet, we need to not rush it. And the other thing I was thinking about is remembering that sometimes what we don't say can impact the trust as much as what we do say, and
Yeah.
deciding between what should be kept confidential, and what confidential information should you share, because that can develop trust, and the choice can really depend on the situation.
I think that's a very good point, right? I think if people don't believe that you're going to keep their confidence,
Yes.
that is definitely a huge trust breaker. And confidence, I mean, if they tell you something that is not to be spread more widely and you break that trust, that's almost irreparable.
Yes. And then I've experienced when either I or someone else has confidential information, whether it's about the company, what's happening, and they share it with me in that confidential way. Wow, you trust me.
Mm.
Like it creates a different kind of bond. So we have probably the most comments, or at least that's what the numbers are showing me that we've had
Yes.
on this show. And I'm going to try, if you see any, I'll pick out a couple. And then if you see any that I've missed, I know that I want to say hello to Jane for
Hi,
being here.
Jane.
She's also a big early bird, and 70% was pretty close. Good guess. And I'm just like skipping through because everyone's saying hello to each other, which is exactly what we love.
Well, we have a very funny answer from our friend Ari. Oh, look at that. And you put her up there.
Oh,
How funny. Very serendipitous. But Ari's comment made me laugh. And she says, but I do know everything and I do have all the answers, even though they may be wrong. Truth and grace.
I love it, Ari. And
I
thank
do
you so much for
too.
being here. We have oh, yay. Thank you for liking the little drum roll. If I can find it again, it may be used again in the future.
Oh, we have a good question from Carlos. So Carlos said,
I'm gonna try. You read it and I'll try to find it.
being in the trenches is such a telling phrase. Why do we need to feel like we're in a battlefield at work? That is a very interesting question. It is. And that, that's a phrase I think we use all the time. It does feel like a battle sometimes.
It's funny you say that, Carl. I didn't use that term there's only one organization that I really felt that we were like in the trenches. And maybe it was because of that startup
Yes.
mentality. We felt like we were like at war to, make ourselves known, and really this was a communications company. So we were this unusual startup kind of in battle with the companies that existed for years, providing communications, phone services, that kind of thing. So it's funny he said that, but I did feel, but we weren't battling each other, which was key. We were battling like the outside forces.
I think that's a very real sentiment in startups, right? I worked at a startup too once, and it is, because you have to be really scrappy. You do feel like you're fighting for everything, right? Because you don't have all the budget, all the support, all the infrastructure that a larger organization would have. So I think that's
Exactly.
very common startup.
We didn't have rules. There was no one there to set the rules yet.
Right. That's right.
Um,
That's right.
and Christina brought up a great point. Agree on the trust in the startup culture. I think trust begets trust as well.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that. And we definitely have time to search through a few more. Oh, here's a quote to share. And I think I have to read it from here. The best way to find out if you can trust someone is to trust them. This is a common theme. We really have to keep that in mind. And I missed it. So Evan must have, oh, I know that Evan wrote at some early hour in the morning, he added some comments to our post that I didn't have time to comment on. And he did mention KPIs for trust,
I
which
love
is a
it.
great point. And Larry Livingston, why do you think the coworker dynamic builds more trust than the leadership who should be building that trust? Any thoughts, Melissa? Great question, Larry.
I mean, I think it goes back to what I was speaking about earlier, that, you know, we spend so much time with our coworkers.
Yes.
Or ideally, we're working on projects together. Ideally, we're on, you know, teams and committees together. We are often on Zoom calls together. We might be traveling together. I can tell you, when I was in corporate and I was, you know, I was traveling to Asia 4 times a year. That definitely builds trust, right? You are eating together, you are traveling together, you're on planes, trains, and automobiles together. That builds trust. You know, I think we have more face time with our coworkers than with our leaders, right? Because our leaders are spread much thinner. They're not always in the same place that we are. And I think there is a little bit of that, you know, now I don't want to say in the trenches, but, you know, you're bonding together over solving problems
Yes.
together, right? Coming up with solutions, working on projects together. You know, I'll never forget one time I was really struggling with a project. It was just roping in a lot of data from a lot of different sources, and it really felt like it was herding cats. And I was struggling, and a coworker came over and said, "Let me help you. Let me help you. I'll take this piece of it. Let's just do it line by line. We'll do it together." And, you know, we became great
Oh,
friends out of that, right? So I think it's things like
yes.
that.
Yes. And it just reminds me of like so many companies I was at where if you think back to which teams, from my observation, seemed so tight, so connected, it was those that traveled together, like whether it was the events team or some marketing group where they always had to travel around the country to or the world to do their work. And it was that eating together, sleeping together, waking up together. So that really can create the bond. We're going to go to our next question, and I can't wait to hear your insight. Melissa, what are some tips for managing trust on LinkedIn or any social media?
So this is a funny timed question for me. So a lot of people here probably know that I recently had a very bad experience where my trust was violated, and the trust of a lot of people was violated. Somebody chose to screenshot some of the recommendations that I have on LinkedIn from clients, and they used them as part of their website. They set up a fake website about career search and used Gmail email addresses that contained my name, and were scamming people. And that was a huge violation of my trust. Not that I knew this person personally, but so I almost want to flip the question a little bit and say, we as social media users, particularly on LinkedIn, because it's a business platform still, we have an obligation to do our due diligence, and our trust should be earned.
Yes.
And we have to make sure that things are what we think they are. And I think that that's also important on other social media platforms, but perhaps with a different lens. You know,
Yes.
um, it happens on LinkedIn too, but I think it's very prevalent on Instagram. Understand that what people show us is what people want to show us, right? And so we're not getting the full picture. We're often getting the highlight reel of someone's life, right? We're getting those highly curated reels or videos or pictures, and don't compare yourself to those people, right? Or because what
Yes.
they're showing you is what they want you to see. So make people earn your trust. I know I'm flipping it a
Oh,
little bit, but that's just
yeah.
how I'm feeling these days.
I, I think that I'm so glad you went even public with everything that happened to you, because it's a lesson for all of us. Like, ooh, what should we do to make sure who we're talking to is that person we think we're
Yes.
talking to? And that's also how you found out that someone like switched what I call the channel. They sent you a DM and asked you a question, and they're like, well, that's not me. So it started to reveal what was happening. And that's really where I was going with this. Like, building trust on social media requires so many like channels of communication and adding the layers on. Of course, we start ourselves with sharing authentic content, but we get to decide what we're sharing. And if you want to get to know people and have them trust you, you have to go to those other channels. Sometimes you're DMing people. Perhaps there's a virtual chat. Perhaps you're coming on a live stream. So you're getting to know a little bit of a different piece of them. And then if you're lucky, you can meet people in person to really um, make the connection. I think whether we're writing content, whether we're posting photos, recording a video, being on this live stream, these are all opportunities where we can earn trust, and of those who we already know and those who we don't know yet.
Yeah. Yep. I couldn't agree more. There's a really good comment that I saw fly by. Well, from
Oh,
Kimberly,
please.
from Kat, on social media, including LinkedIn, be authentic and authentically support others. I love that ad about supporting others. Oh, and
And
Leslie,
I
this
don't
is
think I
twice
hit
now.
them. Is that the right comment?
No, but that's twice now that I've said somebody and you've pulled their comment up. I love it. We're definitely on the same wavelength. But this is important too, right? The 3 T's: transparency, trust, and I love teamwork, right? Teamwork
Love it.
builds trust. Absolutely. And then from another Kimberly Arnold, tell your authentic stories and please use your own pictures. I know folks like to use AI generated photos of themselves, and the real thing lands even better. It builds more trust for me as a reader, follower, and engager.
Absolutely. And I do think about it when you get a connection request from someone and they don't even have a photo because maybe they have the setting that they don't want you to see their photo unless they're connected.
Yes.
But this is LinkedIn. Like, if I can't, now I haven't met you. If I was on the, I need to see your face, or in your message, say something that would kind of change that, where it's okay. But yes, seeing faces, seeing your face. Look at your profile photos and see if we can see you, because there are people who use like a full photo, and
Yeah.
I can't
Uh-huh.
even see if you're smiling at us, if you're looking at us.
I think that's a really important point for me personally. That just builds a little bit of rapport and trust, right? That you're showing me who you are. And there's a small percentage of people who use something as their profile photo that is not them. It's a drawing or it's a logo of some kind. And I technically think that is against LinkedIn's terms and conditions. I might be wrong, but I think they
Yes,
actually ask that you use a photo of yourself in that field. But aside from that, it doesn't build that rapport, right? We want to feel that we're seeing the person that we're talking to. And that profile photo is the first place that we get to do that.
yes. And I'm going to read a comment from Ari. She wrote, Leslie, sometimes when someone knows confidential information and they share, It's a strategic move from the top. I did this in my change management strategy. Absolutely. I remember when I had information about bankruptcy, layoffs, and things like that, and it really strengthened relationships with people with those whom I shared this confidential information. And I was also permitted to, but it made a difference because information, feels like power, in large organizations, and how you share it or don't share it is a big dynamic. I'm scrolling through and seeing what other comments we have, but of course we're at the end
Oh
of,
my gosh, it is
I just
10:30.
glanced at the clock and I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh,
gosh.
oh, oh. So everyone, I love that you're all talking to each other. That's why it was hard to even stream through so many of these comments. Please keep that going. We're going to be there to keep it going.
Yes.
Let's keep the networking going between us, but also between all of you, because it makes us all smile and happy and it builds the trust. So we hope you'll join us again on October 17th at 10 a.m. Mark your calendars. But before we sign off, Melissa, please share some closing words.
I just want to thank everyone for joining us this morning in New York. It's always good to see everyone. There's an interesting question in the comments that we didn't get to, which is, what are we trying to do here? What's the long game? Interesting question. For me, it's just building community. It's just bringing people together. It's having a conversation once a month on different topics related to business, careers, LinkedIn. There's no agenda. We're not here to sell anything. I just love having this conversation with you, Leslie, and with everyone that joins us. So those are my closing remarks. Thank you all for joining us, and hopefully see you next month.
Thank you, everyone.